Hi all, Dr. Clark here, and for this video, it's the first lecture in the Forest Management lecture series. And like my other series, I like to give a intro video on how to succeed in that course. So if you've taken my other courses, watched my other lecture series, this video will be fairly familiar to you. A lot of the same information is laid out on ways in which I think students can succeed in courses. If you're just watching this because you're interested in forest management, you might skip over this video because it's kind of nuts and bolts of how to succeed in a class. Otherwise, you can watch it also. Okay, so first off, if you're taking forest management from me as the instructor and you're taking it for credit, you'll see that I have two required readers or two required books. And one is Sand County Almanac by Alda Leopold. This is a classic for any individual that's interested in ecology, forest management, wildlife management. This is a must read. If you like poetry, this is an excellent book for ecological poetry, but it's a classic and an important read. The second book is by Dietrich, and it's The Final Forest. Okay? And this is about deforestation, logging, etc., in the Pacific Northwest. And it hits home with me directly because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and that's where my experience with logging and the logging industry really comes in, and kind of why I have an invested interest in forest management. Okay, so like other courses and like other things, I always state this, that I request all students and for that matter any individual that's interested in learning something, I think you should do two things in order to learn that material. And the first thing is take notes. Okay? How you take notes is purely up to you. Okay? How much you write down is purely up to you. And different individuals need to write down different information. For me, I write down just a few key points, okay, maybe highlight points, which kind of I use as reminders of what was said during that lecture, during that video, whatever it might be. That works for me. That's how my brain works. But for other people, you might write down every single word. Okay? And then you might have to go back and rewrite every single word multiple times in order to learn the material. So taking notes on every aspect of this course or whatever you're trying to learn can be a huge advantage. Okay? If you're in a meeting and someone's talking, take notes. Okay? It'll help you later on because then you'll be able to refer to those notes and realize what was said instead of sending that email or text or whatever it is and say, what did you say I was supposed to do? Or, I mean, these are really common comments, and it just shows people that, hey, maybe I wasted an hour of my time talking to you if you're not going to remember the highlights and the points that I was trying to get across. That goes for individuals who are lecturing. That goes for individuals who are holding meetings. That goes for parents talking to their children. I mean, it's one of my pet peeves. No, my children do not take notes when I'm telling them what to do, although they probably should. But often it's that mentality of you explain something and then you explain it again. Okay? Only need to explain it once if the individual is truly listening. A good way to show someone that you're truly listening is by taking good notes. Okay? And like I said before, you can do this the old-fashioned way. You can do pen and pencil and or paper, notepad, whatever it is, or you can do it the more modern way, and that would be to type it up or scribe it in on your iPad or whatever you're using. You can take digital notes. It's up to you. Right? Some people can type really fast and their notes are great. Other people, they write faster than they type, so maybe they want to write it down and then type it in. There's lots of things and ways in which you can take notes. Again, the key component to kind of this introduction is you should do what you're most comfortable doing. Okay? And if you're a new student and you really have never taken notes, try a few things out. Okay? Try writing it out via hand. Okay? Try typing it out. Try, just making highlights on your phone. If that's enough for you to remember what was going on, give it a try. Give it a shot. The different methods. You'll find a method that works for you. And then you can hone in on that method and you can develop that method even better. And the more you take notes, the better you'll get. And it's just like anything, riding a bike, whatever it might be. The more you practice, the better you'll be. The second thing that I like to tell all students, and for that matter, anyone who wants to learn material, you have to participate in the learning process. You have to participate in either the course, you have to participate in the lecture, you have to participate in the meeting, something. If you're just back there trying to absorb what was said and you're not participating in any way, now, participation doesn't mean that you have to be this guy. You don't have to be answering and asking all the questions, but that is participation. But there are other ways that you can participate. One way that you can participate is taking notes. That's an act of participation. You're actively participating in that lecture, that whatever it might be. The other thing is in your notes, maybe you're writing questions down that you're going to later ask either via, verbal asking, email, a text, whatever it might be. That's participation. Okay. Now, if you're in a science course, you might have participation that occurs in lectures. You might also have participation that occurs in labs, so hands-on activities. But regardless of what the course is, or what the material is, participation is a really key component of being able to learn the material. And I'd like for you to kind of think back if you're, while we're talking about participation, think back to your childhood. And when you were a kid, think about an activity that you did not participate at 100%. Maybe you participated at 50%, maybe 10%. Okay? This could have been, soccer, baseball, basketball, a sporting event. It could have been dance, ballet, theater, music, something. Okay? There's got to be something in your childhood that your participation level was less than 100%. Now think about what you think of that activity. Okay? Most likely, you don't like that today. Okay? If you sat the bench and never got to play in a baseball game, okay, on a baseball team, and you were left out, okay, so your participation wasn't 100%. Maybe it was 50%. Maybe you got to play 50% of the time. Okay, you probably don't like baseball at this point. You might like to watch it, but you probably don't like to play it. Okay? It's the same thing. If you were in band and you didn't get the lead, or if you're in dance and you didn't get a lead part and you're just a backup, okay, and you didn't get to participate 100% of the time and you never really got that solo that you were trying for, I'd be willing to bet that you probably don't like that activity anymore. It's going to be the same thing with whatever you're trying to learn. You're trying to learn biology. If you give it 25% of the time that's requested or required of you, you're going to hate biology. You're going to think, wow, Dr. Clark, as an instructor, is an awful instructor. Well, in fact, maybe I am an awful instructor, but you didn't even give it a fair chance. You didn't give 100% of your time. So you really can't make those judgment calls by giving half effort or 25% effort. Okay? So participation is huge. And I mean, you'll see that as you participate in something, you'll start to value different pieces of it that you never would have valued had you only gave it 50% participation. All right. So I always, give students this little piece of information, and this may be true for a lot of different courses, a lot of different activities, a lot of different chunks of information that you are interested in obtaining. But specifically for science courses, this is very pertinent and very true. Okay, the truth will set you free. You've probably all heard that before. But in science courses, often it'll piss you off first. Okay? And maybe this is because it goes against your political beliefs, it goes against your religious beliefs, it goes against your grandma beliefs. Okay, grandma told me this, my parents told me that, my high school teacher, my middle school teacher told me this. Okay? Sometimes throughout this class, you're going to probably come across some facts, some information that I provide for you, some scientific evidence that I provide for you. And it could piss you off. It might make you upset because A, you might say, I've been lied to my entire life. B, you might be saying, Dr. Clark, that can't be true. He's a liar. Okay? But in fact, I urge you, I encourage every single student. If you think that what I'm saying is not correct, then find scientific evidence that supports the opposite of what I'm saying. Okay? That's all I ask. Don't come back and say, well, my high school teacher said this, or, my dad said this, or, my pastor, my priest said this. Okay? This is a science course. We're only going to examine scientific evidence. I'm not saying religious evidence, political evidence, family evidence. Okay? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's not scientific, and therefore it has no place in this course. Okay? So again, truth will set you free, but first it may piss you off. Okay, so let's kind of give an example. You're taking this course and you want to earn a certain grade. Okay? You want to achieve something out of the course. Now, from my standpoint, you should want to achieve knowledge from this course, and the grade will come with the amount of knowledge that you achieve. Now, I know most students don't approach courses that way. You're approaching courses because you need a certain amount of credits, you need a certain GPA, etc. All right. So that's fine approach, and I'm never going to change very many students from that approach. That's just the way higher education works, because we put such an emphasis on grades and GPAs and things like that, and credit loads and things like that. If we were putting an emphasis on, well, how much knowledge is the individual getting, it'd be a different ballgame. But that's not the case. That's rarely what we're actually emphasizing. So let's just say, and I'll give you an example here. Let's say the average American is 15 pounds overweight. Okay, that's kind of what's out there right now scientifically. Let's say you want to go on vacation, and maybe it's not December. Maybe you want to go on vacation in March, or maybe you want to go on vacation for spring break, whatever it might be. But you want to go to Hawaii. Before you go on this vacation, you want to lose 15 pounds. Okay? You want to get as close to that beach bod that you want, that you're capable of, or you believe you're capable of, if you lose 15 pounds. Okay? Now, this is all hypothetical. I don't know your situation. I'm not interested in your situation. This is just a hypothetical situation for an individual that might want to lose 15 pounds. Okay? So let's look at how this would work out. Okay? So let's say you decide, I'm going to lose my 15 pounds by working out, okay, by exercising, okay, by burning calories. So let's say you work out 30 minutes, an hour every single day for 3 months. Okay? I'm not saying that you're going to lose 15 pounds, but the odds of you losing 15 pounds is pretty good, especially if you're at least 15 pounds overweight. If you are burning calories, extra calories, okay, 3 months, 15 pounds. Let's say you can only put in 3 times a week for 30 minutes for 3 months. Maybe you never reach that 15-pound goal, but you still lose weight. Maybe you get to 10 pounds. Okay? Maybe you forget about it for 2 months and are like, well, I really don't have time to work out for 2 months. The last month comes around, you're like, oh man, I got 30 days before I'm going to Hawaii. I need to lose weight. I really want to lose weight. Okay, so then you start working out 1 month before you go. Okay, maybe you shed 5 pounds. Studying and participation in a course is the exact same process. It's the exact same process as losing weight. And that's why so many people struggle with it. Okay? More than 50% of Americans are overweight. And I'm not saying that more than 50% of Americans will fail a college course, but it's probably pretty close to that. And the reason for that is we don't like to do things that we have to do every single day, and we have to get a routine of it, okay? Because our lives are hectic. New things pop up, new friends pop up, new movies come out, new video games come out. Your children need something. Your brother's children need something. There's all kinds of things that are going on in our lives that limit how much we believe we can set aside for certain things. Okay? And studying is one of those things. Again, if you study every day for 3 months, that's about roughly the period of the course. Okay, your odds at earning an A in the course greatly increase. Okay? 3 times a week for 3 months, odds at earning a B in the course, okay, greatly increase. The day before each quiz and exam, maybe a C. All right. So again, this is about how much participation you put in. Okay? If you're participating at your fullest, 100%, you're giving it all. I don't see why you can't earn an A. But if you're procrastinating until Sunday, the day the assignment's due, and you're watching football, or well, in the case of spring semester, maybe you're watching basketball, or baseball season's coming up, okay, and you just have other things to do on Sunday also. Okay? Clean the house, walk the dog, whatever it might be. Okay? So you actually are not even giving it 100% of your Sunday, which is only 1/7 of the time that you have for that week's amount of material. So it comes down to here, basically you're doing everything the day before it's due. Okay? So the odds are pretty good that you're not making that A range. Now, that being said, everyone starts at a different spot. Okay? Working out, it's the same. Maybe you're a star athlete, and maybe you're a multi-athlete, you're excellent, and you got away from working out. Right? And over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you put on a little bit of weight, 15 pounds of excess weight. Okay? Now, if you know how to work out and you've worked out your entire life and you're a star athlete, it's probably pretty easy to shed those 15 pounds. Okay? But if you're 15 pounds overweight and you don't work out, you really never have worked out on a regular basis, okay, and you're going to try to shed those pounds, you might have to do that every day for 3 months to get rid of that 15 pounds. Star athlete, 1 month before you go, okay, you might get this to 15 pounds. It depends on the individual. Same thing with studying. You come in and you've already had a good course. You've already experienced that material. You already have some background in that material. Maybe the day before get you an A. So it really depends on where you start, right? How much you have to participate. But if you find that after the first quiz or the first assignment that you're not doing well, then you probably need to up your game and you need to start studying more to get to where you want to be. Okay, it's not also just how much you study, but it's how you study. Okay? I have so many students that come to me and they say, oh yeah, I studied for like 10 hours before your exam. Well, first of all, let's put this into perspective. Okay? Let's say you took the midterm exam and you studied for 10 hours before the midterm exam. I always ask students, well, how long did I lecture before that midterm exam? 2 hours a week for 8 weeks? Okay? That's 16 hours. You didn't even study as much time as I lectured. Well, I mean, let's put that into perspective. That's not 100% participation by any means if you're not even going to study for the amount of time that I lectured. Remember, lecture is just a small portion of what you need. You also have reading. You also have assignments. Right? And if that's what you're studying is, 10 hours before an exam, maybe you're not going to do very well. Okay? Also, I always ask students if they want my opinion, well, how did you study? Okay? Was it, with your friends? Did you have your phone right next to you with Facebook on so you could, study a little bit, read a little bit, and then all of a sudden you get dinged so you can type a message to your friends and then you go back and what kind of studying are we talking about? Was it 10 hours before the exam and it was 10 hours of cramming all the material for half a semester? Before that, yeah. Those kind of study methods, those don't work. Okay? Now, for some people, they might work. You might be able to cram. But there is a big difference between cramming and learning. And so maybe up to this point, if you're a beginning student, you're just in college, okay, maybe up to this point, maybe in high school, a cram session worked fine. All you had to do is memorize the facts because the exam was just going to be regurgitating the facts. Okay? Well, I assure you, as you progress in college, there is far less memorization of facts and far more applying those facts. Okay? So it's not just enough to memorize something. You have to be able to apply it to different situations. This is where we break down what I call information, knowledge, wisdom. If you are there just to obtain information, you're sitting in a lecture, your professor is chattering, lecturing, and you're writing notes. That's how you're getting information. You could probably do the exact same thing by just picking up a book and reading it. That's how you're getting information. By watching a YouTube video. That's how you're getting information. By Googling it in an active search. That's how you're getting information. Okay? Information's at everyone's fingertips. Hey, you have a computer. Most people have a computer in your pocket, and you just type it in, and you get the information that you're interested in. But in biology courses or college today or natural resources courses, etc., we're not talking about information. We're not talking about just being informed. We're talking about taking that information that's given, okay? Taking that information on how forests are managed and converting it into knowledge, being able to apply it, Sure, you might know the 5 different clear cut, how to clear cut a forest in the 5 different ways that it's done. Okay? And you might have memorized the names for those. That's information. Okay? But being able to apply that, okay? So having a situation where you have a north-facing slope in this region with this amount of rainfall, and you want to get this amount of product off, what kind of cutting method are you going to use? That's knowledge. You're applying it to situations. Okay? And that's what instructors in today's society want from their students. We don't want you to regurgitate material for the most part. Okay? Now, some instructors still do, but we don't want you to just regurgitate information that you can find on the internet. Okay? That does you no good. Applying the information through knowledge-based questions is what we're after. Okay? Eventually, if you have the ability to apply knowledge to knowledge-based questions, eventually you'll then be able to transfer that knowledge into what we call wisdom. Okay? And you can kind of think of it as dots. So information are individual dots. Okay? Knowledge is connecting those dots and sometimes making very simple shapes, triangles, squares, circles, whatever. Okay? Just connecting dots. Wisdom is taking your knowledge and connecting your different pieces of knowledge, okay, and applying that to a novel situation. So now we're talking about 3-dimensional shapes, maybe multi 3-dimensional shapes that are connected together. Okay? So if you want to think about information, it's just single points, facts. Okay, lots of people have facts. You might ask your friend, hey, who was the quarterback for the New York Giants in 1982? And they might be able to spit that out. Okay? And that's not knowledge. That's just facts. That's someone regurgitating information. Okay? But knowledge might be, hey, what makes that individual in 1982 similar to this individual in 2019, 2020? And, how are they similar? How are they dissimilar? How were collection events in this, forest similar to collection events in this forest? Okay? How are they different? Why does it matter? What is that data going to tell you? That's knowledge. You're taking a bunch of facts and you're connecting it together. Okay? And that's what instructors want in today's society. And for that matter, that's what business owners, that's what employers want. They don't want you to just regurgitate facts. They want you to think about novel situations, things that come up, and apply the information that you know to solve that problem. That's key. All right, let's look at procrastination. I introduced it. There are lots of forms of procrastination. There are lots of books out there that label different types of procrastination events in these different ways. So by no means am I telling you, if you don't know how to study or you claim you don't know how to study, that you're lazy or an idiot. I'm not calling you that. I'm saying the act of procrastination falls under that title. Okay, there's lots of books that will give you a title. And the nice thing about being titled or having one of these procrastination titles is you can probably know how to fix it. Okay, so if you're reading through these and you're like, hey, I'm a futurist. I always say that. Do I really need an A? I mean, come on, what employer is actually going to look at my transcripts and say, hey, he got an A in forest management? No one. I agree with the futurist. No one's going to do that. No employer is going to do that. But I assure you of this, if you want a scholarship, if you want grants, if you want, an internship at the Forest Service, if you want to get into grad school, they do care. They do care that you earned an A and not a C in forest management. Okay? So yes, maybe the end goal of being an employee is not based directly on your grade. But the middle piece, the middleman, the amount you're going to get in financial aid, the amount you're going to get in grants and scholarships, and whether you're going to get internships, that directly relates to your GPA. So that's types of procrastination, okay? And to everyone who procrastinates, I just have one thing when it comes from an education point of view to tell everyone. It doesn't matter which one you fall into. If you are a procrastinator, you're going to fall into one of these or maybe multiple stuck together, okay? Just study. Okay? It's just like working out. Okay? You want to lose the weight, work out. You want to earn an A, study. Okay? You want to ride a bike, practice. Okay? You want to be good at fly fishing, practice. Okay? You just need to do that activity. The more you do that activity, the better you will be. Okay? And the easier it will be. All right. So there are 3 ways that I say to succeed, really, for that matter, in anything in life. Okay? And the first thing that I would say is you must get the information. Okay? Somehow you must get the information. Now, in my case, you should be watching lectures. Okay? I provide you the information via lectures. Okay? I also provide you books that you need to read. Okay? That's how you're going to get the information. Okay? So the first step in succeeding is get the information. If this is the step that you're not 100% participating in, then none of the other steps matter. So if you say, hey, oh yeah, I was watching Dr. Clark's first lecture and it's 50 minutes, but I could only watch it for 20 minutes because I got bored. Boom. Well, you only got, half the information. So you put in 50% participation. Okay? So if you don't watch the lecture or read the books, okay, you're not going to succeed. Here, this is an example of it. Okay? So I can pull up on YouTube and I can pull up video analytics, okay? And I can look at how many people viewed a certain video. Okay? This video was created in September 21st, 2019. So last semester in the fall, okay, it was created. Population ecology video. Okay? 24 students in the class. 14 views. Okay? So not only do I not know how many of these 14 were students in my class, I know this, that at least 10 individuals didn't watch the video. So I don't know how they got the information. Okay? So we're already at that point. But then look what else I have here. I can look and see how much time was spent watching the video. Now the video is 45 minutes. Okay? And the total watch time is 5.3 hours. Okay? So the video is almost an hour long. It has 14 views. Okay? Well, the 14 views, I can guarantee you this, that 14 views, that time, 14 times 45 minutes, is not 5.3 hours. So even the individuals who were viewing the material, they didn't view it all the way through. Now, one way that this could happen is, let's say there's actually not 14 students that watched the video, but maybe there was only 8, 9, maybe 10 students that watched the video, and 4 of them went back and watched pieces again. That's how you can get a watch time that's less than what it should be. But which just shows me that there's at least close to half of the students are not participating. Well, if you don't do that, then you miss step 1 to succeed. And you can't do step 2. Right? Step 2 is to take notes. Take more notes, review your notes, study your notes. So now what you're doing, step 1 is you're getting the information. Step 2 is you're learning the information. Now, I can't tell you how to take notes. I can't tell you how to review notes. I can't tell you how to study notes. Okay? For everyone, it is different. Okay? The final step, if you've done 1 and 2, the final step is to apply the information. How do you apply the information? There's lots of ways that you can apply the information. Make practice exams and do those practice exams. Study with a classmate, do quizzes, okay? Do practice exams, teach someone else. Teach someone that's related to you, teach a random person some of the information that you've learned. That's how you apply the information. Okay? Ask questions. If you don't know information and you ask questions, or you don't know, parts of the information or connection points of the information, and you ask a question, then you go back and now you get the information on how those points are connected. Then it's your job to learn that information, how those points are connected, and then you don't have that question anymore, so you can apply it in a practice exam, or you can teach someone else that might have the same question. Okay? These 3 steps, these 3 ways are really how to succeed in pretty much anything you want to learn how to do. Okay? Think about it. Maybe you want to learn how to weld. Okay? So maybe it's been your dream and you want to learn how to weld. What's the first thing you should do? Get information on welding. Read. Read information. Watch a YouTube video. Have an instructor tell you how to weld. Okay? Maybe that starts with how to turn the machine on. Okay? Whether you're TIG welding, MIG welding, stick welding, okay? Whatever you want to learn how to do, okay? You have to get that information about that material. Okay? So let's say you get it. Then you have to learn the information. Okay? You don't want to make mistakes. Okay? Sometimes making mistakes is how you do learn that information, though. Okay? And so in some cases, making a mistake here or there is fine because you learn from your mistakes. And that's still learning that information. Okay? And then you have to apply that information. Okay? Apply how to make a bead. Okay? The different ways to do, the different motions you do in TIG welding and things like that. Apply those. Okay? And you apply those by practicing those. Okay? And so success, when it comes to different things, really comes from that information. Okay? Get the information, learn the information, apply the information. This is how you learned how to drive. This is how you learned how to ride a bike. This is how you learned how to play sports. This is how you learned how to read. This is how you're going to learn forest management, biology, mathematics, whatever it might be. Get the information, learn the information, apply the information. That's how we succeed in life with everything. All right. So enjoy the course. Please, if you participate, the more you participate, I promise you, the more enjoyment you'll get out of the material. Okay? So maybe some material you're not interested in, but maybe the next section you're really interested in it. Okay? So participate more in the stuff that you're interested in. I'm all right with that. Okay? In the end, it'll all come out in the wash. You might not be very good at this piece, but you'll be very good at this piece. And that's the way that you succeed. No one's good at everything. Okay? And you shouldn't try to be. But participate, try. Okay? If you fail, okay, try to remedy what went wrong. Did you not have the information? Did you not learn the information? Or is it just your inability to apply the information? Okay? All right. So enjoy the lecture series. Okay. If you have questions, concerns, you guys have my phone number. You have my email. Okay. Shoot me a line and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, most of the time within 24 hours. Okay, till next time.